Often hailed as one of the world's most rapidly growing regions, ASEAN is frequently cited as a potential rival to the European Union. Experts lend credibility to this view, undeterred by the difference in the number of member countries. ASEAN has 10, while the EU has 27. A key factor bolstering this perspective is ASEAN's population, which exceeds 600 million compared to the EU's 448 million, a population that is also aging. Essentially, ASEAN's promising outlook is fueled by its expanding population and its strategically advantageous geopolitical position, particularly as Asia rises as the next economic powerhouse. But let us understand this better through the rest of the video. Before we get started, let's get a brief understanding of what ASEAN and the EU are. ASEAN is a regional organization comprising 10 Southeast Asian countries: Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Established in 1967, ASEAN aims to promote economic growth, social progress, and regional stability among its member countries. On the other hand, the European Union is a political and economic union of 27 European countries. Established in 1993 with the signing of the Maastricht Treaty, the EU's objectives include promoting peace, establishing a single market, and fostering economic, social, and territorial cohesion among its member states. First, let's take a look at the economic aspects of ASEAN and the EU. In terms of nominal GDP, the EU is the world's second largest economy, with a combined GDP of around 15.2 trillion USD in 2021. Meanwhile, ASEAN's combined GDP was approximately 3.2 trillion USD in the same year, making it the fifth largest economy in the world. Clearly, there's a considerable gap between the two in terms of economic size. However, ASEAN has been experiencing rapid economic growth in recent years, with an average annual GDP growth rate of around 5% between 2000 and 2020. This growth has been fueled by factors such as increasing foreign direct investment, a growing middle class, and strong domestic consumption. If ASEAN can maintain its current growth trajectory, it could eventually become a significant global economic powerhouse, although reaching the size of the EU will take time. One crucial factor that differentiates the EU from ASEAN is the level of economic integration. The EU has a single market, which allows for the free movement of goods, services, capital, and people among its member countries. This integration has led to increased trade and investment, fostering economic growth across the region. ASEAN, on the other hand, has made strides towards economic integration through initiatives like the ASEAN Economic Community (AEC), which aims to create a single market and production base in the region. However, the level of integration is still far from that of the EU, with barriers to trade, investment, and labor mobility remaining in place. This limited integration could hinder ASEAN's ability to reach the economic scale and influence of the EU. Now, let's discuss the political and social aspects of ASEAN and the EU. One significant difference between the two organizations is the extent of political integration. The EU has a highly developed political structure, with institutions like the European Commission, European Parliament, and European Council that play crucial roles in decision-making and implementing policies across the region. Additionally, the EU has a common currency, the euro, which further strengthens its economic and political ties. In contrast, ASEAN has a more limited political structure, characterized by the principle of non-interference in the internal affairs of its member countries. This principle allows for a high degree of national sovereignty and independence, but also means that ASEAN's decision-making process is often consensus-based, which can lead to slow and inefficient policy implementation. Moreover, the political systems and ideologies of ASEAN member countries are highly diverse, ranging from democracies to authoritarian regimes, which further complicates regional integration efforts. Socially, the EU and ASEAN also exhibit significant differences. The EU has made substantial progress in promoting social cohesion and harmonizing social policies among its member countries. For example, EU citizens have the right to live, work, and study in any EU country without the need for visas or work permits. Additionally, the EU has enacted numerous regulations to protect workers' rights, ensure gender equality, and promote social inclusion. In comparison, ASEAN faces significant social challenges such as income inequality, human rights issues, and disparities in education and healthcare. While ASEAN has taken steps to address these issues through various social initiatives, progress has been slow, and the region still faces considerable social and developmental gaps. On top of that, the diversity of cultures, languages, and religions in the region also presents additional challenges to social integration. So, can ASEAN become as big and influential as the EU? While ASEAN has made impressive strides in economic growth and regional cooperation, several factors may hinder its ability to achieve the same level of integration and influence as the EU. The first is due to a limited economic integration. Although ASEAN has made progress towards creating a single market, significant barriers to trade, investment, and labor mobility remain. Overcoming these barriers will be crucial for ASEAN to fully harness its economic potential. Secondly, we also have what is known as political diversity and limited political integration. ASEAN's diverse political systems and its commitment to non-interference in member countries' internal affairs could hamper the development of a more cohesive political structure and decision-making process. Thirdly, there are also social challenges and disparities. Addressing social and developmental gaps among its member countries will be essential for ASEAN to promote social cohesion and harmony within the region. Finally, cultural, linguistic, and religious diversity are also key factors. The vast diversity within ASEAN can make it challenging to develop a common identity and foster a sense of unity among its member countries. While it may be challenging for ASEAN to achieve the same level of integration and influence as the EU, the organization undoubtedly has the potential to become a major global player. By continuing to promote economic growth, regional stability, and social development, ASEAN can strengthen its position in the international community and contribute to the prosperity and well-being of its people. As we look towards the future, it's essential to consider the potential economic trajectories of both the European Union and ASEAN. The two organizations face different challenges and opportunities, which will undoubtedly shape their economic growth and development in the coming decades. For the European Union, one of the most significant challenges is addressing the economic disparities between its member countries. Although the EU has made strides in promoting economic convergence, some regions, particularly in Southern and Eastern Europe, continue to lag behind their more prosperous neighbors. In addition, the EU faces an aging population, which could impact labor markets, social welfare systems, and overall economic growth. To address these challenges, the EU will need to focus on promoting innovation, increasing productivity, and ensuring sustainable and inclusive growth across the region. Another challenge the EU faces is the uncertainty surrounding Brexit and its long-term impact on the European economy. The United Kingdom was one of the EU's largest economies, and its departure has left the bloc grappling with questions about its future trade relationships, financial stability, and political cohesion. While the EU has demonstrated resilience in the face of these challenges, it will be essential for the bloc to continue working towards greater integration and cooperation to ensure its long-term economic success. On the other hand, ASEAN's future economic prospects appear to be more optimistic. With a rapidly growing population, an expanding middle class, and increasing urbanization, the region is poised for significant economic growth in the coming years. ASEAN's young and dynamic population offers a distinct advantage over the aging populations of many advanced economies, including the EU. This demographic dividend could provide a significant boost to the region's labor force, consumer markets, and overall economic growth. Moreover, ASEAN has made significant progress in integrating its economies with the implementation of the ASEAN Economic Community (AEC) in 2015. The AEC aims to create a single market and production base, facilitating the free flow of goods, services, investments, and skilled labor across the region. While there is still much work to be done, the AEC has the potential to significantly enhance ASEAN's economic competitiveness and attractiveness to foreign investors. However, ASEAN also faces challenges in its pursuit of economic growth. The region must address critical issues such as income inequality, environmental sustainability, and the need for infrastructure development. Additionally, ASEAN must continue to strengthen its economic integration and cooperation in the face of increasing global economic uncertainty and geopolitical tensions. In conclusion, while it is unlikely that ASEAN will become as big and influential as the EU in the near future, the organization still has the potential to play a significant role in the global economy and geopolitics. The journey towards greater integration and influence is a long one, and ASEAN will need to address its economic, political, and social challenges to fully realize its potential. Nevertheless, the progress made so far is promising, and with continued effort and collaboration, ASEAN could become an even more prominent player on the world stage. So what do you think? Can ASEAN ever reach the level of the EU? Do let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.